The town of Swanzey, New Hampshire is a beautiful landscape made up of hills and valleys. The Ashwillet River cuts through the landscape in a southwest direction all the way to the Connecticut River. The South Branch River collides with the Ashwillet about a mile north of Swansea Center, making this area a geographical masterpiece for a town to thrive. Welcome to my series on the founding of Swanzey, New Hampshire, the history of Denman Thompson and the impact he had on the town. The town of Swanzey was originally established in 1733, then known as Lower Ashwillet by Jonathan Belchar of Massachusetts. Jonathan Belchar was a merchant, politician, and slave trader from colonial Massachusetts, who was both the governor of Massachusetts Bay and the governor of New Hampshire. Before the town was established in 1733, it was home of the Native American Abenaki Indians. They lived near what is now known as Swanzey Center, on and around Mount Caesar. They fished for salmon in the Ashwillet River, and when the water gets low in the summertime, you can still see the remnants of an old dam the Abenakis built. When Swanzey, or Lower Ashwillet as it was known then, was established, it was originally a fort town during King George's War. When it was originally settled, it consisted of 6 square miles and was divided up into 63 house lots. 60 of the lots were given to 60 different people. The 3 other lots were for a school, the minister, and the ministry. One of the first lots was reserved in 1737 for the first meeting house. It was built in the 1740s at the base of Mount Caesar. During King George's War between Great Britain and France, the colonies were dragged into the fighting. The French authorities in Canada were urging Native Americans to commit heinous acts upon the English settlements. This is what happened in Lower Ashwillet. On April 15, 1747, they burned down the town. Every single building was destroyed except for one of them. The town was abandoned after this incident took place. It is recorded that few families started moving back to the area as early as 1751, but not many. It wasn't until 1753 that the township was chartered by New Hampshire and the governor during this time, Benning Wentworth, and on July 2nd they decided to name the town Swanzey. No one is quite certain on why the name of Swanzey was chosen. It is believed that some of the earliest settlers had family connections with Swansea in Wales, while others think that many of them were from Swansea, Massachusetts. Swanzey was broken up into 4 areas: Swansea Center, West Swansea, East Swansea, and Factory Village, later to be called North Swansea. The town soon started to prosper. Agriculture was the largest interest of the townspeople when it was first founded, but there were some manufacturing interests as well. Since the Ashwillet River ran through Swansea, it was a decent place for manufacturing mills. The first sawmill was built in 1736 before the town was abandoned at the Upper Great Falls of West Swansea on the Ashwillet River. Ephraim Jones, who owned the sawmill, was encouraged at a proprietors' meeting to build a grist mill near his sawmill. These buildings burned down in 1747, and it wouldn't be until 1760 when Joseph Whitcomb and his son were granted the rights to the falls by the town proprietors under the conditions they would build a sawmill within 2 to 3 years. They quickly built not only a sawmill, but another grist mill as well in West Swansea. Those were not the only mills that were built in Swansea, though. There was also an area of Swansea known as Swansea Factory Village. There were 2 mills built there as well, another sawmill and a corn mill. They were built by David Belding, Joshua Graves, Elijah Scott, and Abner Graves. These mills were also built to help the people in Keene as well, the town 5 miles to the north of Swansea. Over in East Swansea, John Wickham purchased 3 lots of land. One of the lots he was able to build the first dam in Swansea, and he also built a sawmill and a gristmill around 1780. In 1755, they started the construction of the first church building, located on Meeting House Hill, which is now known as Mount Caesar. The construction of the first Congregational Church of Swansea was not finished until 1765. Unfortunately, that same year, a hurricane ripped through town, causing major damage to the newly built church. The repairs were finally finished in 1771. The church was used for all different meetings, both religious and civil. Some of the most prominent buildings in Swansea started being built in the early to mid-1800s. The original town hall of Swansea was built in 1796 in Swansea Centre. Unfortunately, it burned down in 1913. The Carpenter homestead was built at the base of Mount Caesar by Elijah Carpenter, who was a successful farmer and served as the county sheriff and state legislator. In 1930, it was donated to the town by Mrs. Lucy J. Carpenter. The facility was to be used for the poor and less fortunate of the town. This assisted living facility stayed active until 2019. Also, in 1843, the Mount Caesar Seminary and Swansea Academy was built. This private academy was affiliated with the Universalist denomination. In 1852, the Mount Caesar Seminary had 52 boys enrolled and 40 girls, and it was made up of an English department, classical department, a teacher's institute, ornamental department, rhetorical exercises, literary society, and devotional exercises. By 1880, the total of Swansea's population grew to 1,660 people. Swansea during this time had 10 school districts, contained 13 public schools and 11 schoolhouses. There were 357 students attending the schools at this time, with 17 female teachers. Even back then, teachers were not paid enough, averaging a monthly salary of $28.03. West Swansea had the most important location. They had the Ashwheelet Railroad Station. They also had 2 churches, a Baptist and Universalist, the Stratton Free Library, 3 stores, 1 hotel, a woolen mill, 2 box factories, 2 pail and bucket factories, a meat market, and a blacksmith. Swanzey Centre was home to the first Congregational Church, the Town Hall, Mount Caesar Seminary, which is now Mount Caesar Union Library, and a blacksmith shop. East Swansea had 1 store, wooden ware factory, and 2 bucket factories. As Swansea entered the 20th century, they continued to grow. On November 18, 1913, the town called a special meeting at the Universalist Church in West Swansea. Their reason was to consider the possibility of building a new town hall in West Swansea to replace the one that just burned down in Swansea Centre. A local resident, George E. Wickham, offered to help finance the construction of the new building. He told the town that if they were able to raise $1,500, that he would donate the rest. Amazingly, within a half an hour, they raised $1,508 towards the new building. Finally, on June 27, 1917, 800 townspeople gathered for the dedication of the new town hall, named Wickham Hall. The town hall in Swansea Centre was rebuilt in 1914 as well, with a colonial revival hipped roof, arched window caps, and classical columns on the pedimented entry porch. Swansea is also known for their covered bridges. The first covered bridge was built in 1771. The Crescent Bridge is located at Sawyer's Crossing Road and spans the Ashwheelet River. In 1859, the bridge was rebuilt to the bridge that we see today. The Carlton Covered Bridge was built in 1789 to the tune of 15 pounds. The Carlton Covered Bridge is located a half a mile south of Swansea Centre on Carlton Road, just off of Old Homestead Highway, and crosses over South Branch River. The Thompson Bridge, located on Main Street in West Swansea, was built in 1832. This bridge was built by Zadok Taft for a grand total of $523.27. Here's a fun fact for you. In 1973, the bridge was posted for a 6-ton weight limit. That meant that the school buses could only cross if they were empty. So if the bus was full of children, all the students had to get off the bus, walk across the bridge, and then get back on the other side. This lasted for about 3 years until a steel and concrete bridge was built nearby to carry the heavier vehicles. Finally, the slate-covered bridge was built in 1862 on Westport Village Road. This bridge also spans the Ashwellet River. The slate-covered bridge was destroyed by a fire in 1993, but was rebuilt in 2001 for the total cost of $900,000. This is just a small glimpse into the history of Swanzey and what makes this town so amazing and wonderful. There's so much more to be learned and taught to the future generations to keep this unique culture of our town alive. Thanks for watching. I'm Dan LeClaire.